Welcome to Finish the Race, a conservative Christian podcast where we'll dive deep into the current events and social issues affecting Americans.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
In times like these, truth, principles, and solutions matter. Through God's Word, we can restore our true American values, faith, family, and country.
However, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace.
Now, here's your host, Eric-Thompson.
Hi, welcome to Finish the Race. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Eric-Thompson out here in California, and this is our Day in Review podcast as we go over the news from today and some of the articles that I wrote over on the website, finishtherace.com. We're 32 days away from the midterm elections. And the progressives, when I was researching for a lot of the articles today, are under the impression, they've been under the impression that they're going to end up actually not losing the House, and they're going to pick up seats in the Senate, and they're going to get rid of the filibuster, and that's going to allow them to add seats to the Supreme Court, to stack it, and they're going to continue their push toward moving the United States of America to zero emissions, trying to reach the Great Reset's goal of the 2030 through 2035 plan to deconstruct capitalism around the world and to move the world to a new world order. And they've been tossed around on the seas of emotionalism by the Democratic leadership from the White House down. Critical race theory. The kids need to be told from kindergarten what transgenderism is, and see if they are maybe were born in the wrong body, and then let them come up with their own names and pronouns. And while that's going on, telling them and the teachers through seminars that white people are the problem and men are the problem, and they need to recognize that and apologize and get out of the way and let the women and people of color to take over now. And while that's going on, there's, oh my goodness, the Supreme Court said a state should handle the abortion. So they told the women in the Democratic Party, abortion's now illegal because of the MAGA Republicans. Biden came out doing his spooky, demonic-looking speech with the red backdrop. The MAGA Republicans are the ones we have to target. Because of that, there's been shootings, and people have been, they went out, Jane's revenge, after the Supreme Court canceled Roe v. Wade. They went out and they were vandalizing buildings all over the country and the pro-life centers, saying if we can't have abortion, you can't have peace, not one arrest. And now that we're getting close to the election, all of a sudden, Herschel Walker is winning in Georgia. Johnson's winning in Wisconsin. Masters is now tied in Arizona. And the guy in, I forgot his name, but the guy running for the Senate seat in Nevada looks like he's pulling away a little bit, Republican. DeSantis' lead is growing, and Kemp's leading is growing in Georgia for the governorships. So the left is unhinged. And Biden is from all practical purposes, he's not mentally cognizant anymore. He's only there for a short period of time when on medication. So he keeps signing whatever they put in front of him, and he's got his handlers, the Obama, Valerie Jarrett and all of them that came over from the Obama administration to serve on the Obama-Biden administration. So they're kind of guiding him through how to continue Barack Obama's agenda, which is what we're seeing. And what was predicted and what's happening is our nation, which was founded by the well thought out Constitution, Bill of Rights, from men who really put their heart into it, wanting to make sure that we did not become another crown, a British crown. We aren't going to have a king over here. So they really they did all they could in those initial documents to try to set us up for success to remain free. Well, the progressives over the last 100 years have been just adding layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy, trying to turn us into a socialist state anyway. So the left is nuts now. They're nuts over, we want abortion everywhere up to 9 months, and we want people to have their own pronouns. And Virgin Airlines says pilots can now wear dresses and pronouns on their names, and on and on and on. And so the news is really, some of the stories I pulled out was FBI took surveillance tapes from an attacked pro-life group. The Jane's Revenge group had vandalized their building. But then the FBI hasn't arrested one person from all of those dozens of attacks on buildings. Not one. And so now the group says, hey, could we have our surveillance video back so we can pursue it? Nope. So they're having to sue to try to get back their surveillance tapes that they provided to the FBI, who won't do their job. Now, on the same note, the Department of Justice did send the FBI in, and they arrested 11 older people that did a sit-in prayer sit-in at an abortion clinic in 2021, singing and praying, not touching people, not causing any problems, exercising their First Amendment right. But the Department of Justice is treating them like they are Al-Qaeda. So they brought charges. You can read about it. DOJ targets more pro-life activists. Charges 11 in Tennessee. So from the top down, abortion, abortion, abortion. No oil, no oil. Green New Deal, Green New Deal. White people bad, men bad, women good, people of color good. There's an article here. This was interesting. We knew this was going to happen if Biden got his way and was able to, by using his influence and by BlackRock Financial and the financial institutions freezing up all of the assets and resources and things that were previously available to help fossil fuel companies drill and get access to energy. When the Biden administration said, close the leases, no, you're not going to be able to drill there after all. Banks don't give loans. We're going to put in the ESG scores. And so banks and other financial institutions, the fossil fuel industry has a terrible environmental score, so don't give them any money to drill. So guess what? We're down about 1 million barrels a day in production. So the Biden administration said, well, then we will go to OPEC and we'll go to Venezuela. We'll go to other countries that do a dirty, terrible job of extracting the natural resources and the development of getting the barrels of oil and the processing. Biden says it's okay if we go over there for them to dirty up the planet and do it much worse than we would have done here. That's okay for some reason, but just he's not going to allow it here in our country. So the problem is, because of Biden's policies, you can see the article, desperate for oil, Biden to scale down sanctions against fascist Venezuelan government. Biden, as he was cutting our supplies here, our gasoline now, which is about $6.50 a gallon out here in California, and going up. It's like the supply and demand, the commodity markets, it's all based off supply and demand. And so guess what? If it's hard to get the oil, hard to get the gasoline, then people, stations and locations have to pay more to get some of the diminished levels of inventory on gas and oil. This is why up in the northeast of the United States are looking at 200% plus increase in heating bills expected for this winter. Why? Because Biden shut down as much activity as he could in our country. So then he goes over to Saudi Arabia. I think then they went up to France or somewhere, or to Venice. But he goes, okay, well, hey guys, OPEC Plus, which includes Russia. So Saudi Arabia, Qatar, all these countries over there that are producing oil, part of this group, OPEC, with Russia now. And he's like, hey, I need you to increase production because we don't have enough oil in the United States because I'm not letting us get to it. So go ahead and I need you to increase it. Fist bump, let's do it. Well, guess what? Just like Europe, the United States has been supplying aid to Ukraine to kill Putin's troops in their attempted takeover of the nation. So what do you think Putin does when you challenge him? He bites you back. Turns off the big pipeline coming in from Europe and from Russia into Europe. So there's going to be people probably freezing to death this winter in Europe because they had already bought into this new climate change emergency and shut down their coal plants years ago. Now they're trying to get the cobwebs out of the way and reboot them up in time, which they're not going to make it. It's already October. So guess what OPEC Plus told Biden? Well, you know, it's a technical thing here, Biden, but we're actually going to decrease global production. We're not going to increase for you. We're going to decrease 200 million barrels a day. Couldn't be worse news. So Biden now, who is having to grovel to countries that hate us. So the Wall Street Journal says, well, we're hearing that Joe now is, the administration is actually reaching out to Venezuela. Wall Street Journal reports that the Biden administration is scrambling to try to bring down oil prices before the midterms. So they're looking to ease Trump-era sanctions on the anti-American socialist regime of Venezuela so the Chevron Corporation can start pumping oil there again. Yes. So our government, who won't drill here, got turned down by OPEC Plus, and now they're groveling to the Maduro fascist, just murderous thug group over there. I'm not going to call them administration because they're basically just controlled by a tyrant. So you can read that article over here. Desperate Biden is now trying to, hey, I'll lift the sanctions, Chevron, if you get back in there because we don't have any oil and the gas prices are going to go up right before the midterms and we're going to get crushed even worse. Federal agents now believe they have enough evidence to charge Hunter Biden. You can check that article out. Ben Sass, the Rhino Ben Sass of Nebraska is resigning. That's actually good news. Louisiana is actually divesting $800 million from BlackRock Financial, which is part of the Great Reset. So that's really good news. That is how we fight back against the globalists trying to set up the New World Order. And a couple other things. Federal judge declared most of New York's hyper-radical gun laws as unconstitutional. And DACA was ruled to be legal, should not have been established signed into executive order by Obama. So they said, no, it was illegal. It's unconstitutional. But for now, they're not unraveling it. So they're letting the 600,000 illegal aliens stay in the country. There's more to that story, but that's the main headline. DACA is ruled illegal by federal court, but they let 600,000 illegals stay anyway. But there's more to that story, but you can get them also. Head over to finishtherace.com. Check out the articles. If you have any feedback, email me at eric@finishtherace.com. And don't forget, I mention this every podcast, with inflation through the roof, if you have AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, or Sprint, you know you're paying way too much for your cell phone service. They're huge, a lot of overhead. Do what hundreds of thousands of other people have done, including Sean Hannity and Clay and Buck and all of us. Switch over to this company called Pure Talk USA, and it works this way. A couple years ago, my wife and I we're sick of paying these crazy. I was with AT&T, then I went over to T-Mobile. My bill was up and down. I got sick of it, and I figured out after doing research that you can do what I did. You can go to this website, GoPureTalk.com. Go Pure, P-U-R-E Talk.com. You'll see my name on there. You can choose the plan that you're on right now that's right for you. You can switch over to Pure Talk, but guess what? You're going to stay on the same 5G network you're on now. You're going to be using the exact same tower, but for about half the cost. The average family saves $900 to $1,000 a year. And they don't charge you if you go over on your data. My bill is $47 a month for two iPhones on their program, fixed. Even if I go over on my data, we're traveling, whatever, I still pay the same amount. It's a no-brainer anymore. So go to GoPureTalk.com. Choose a plan that's right for you. If you want to keep your current phones, you can. If you want to keep your current phone numbers, you can. And you don't have to sign a long-term contract. So like, all right, I want the 6 gigabyte program. I want to keep my phone, and this is my phone number. And when you go to checkout, you're going to put in my promo code, FLS, for Liberty's sake, FLS. Because this is a special deal, you're going to put free after it. So FLS free. That gives you 1 month free on your new Pure Talk bill, which is going to be about half of what you've been paying the big carriers. Win, 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 win. Same 5G network, same tower. You don't have to buy new equipment. You don't have to get new phone numbers. You don't do anything different except go puretalk.com, choose a plan that's right for you, order the free SIM cards from the homepage if you want to keep your phones. They'll mail them to you. You pop them in your phones. You turn on your phones. Bam. Customer service is U.S.-based in the Atlanta, Georgia area. CEO is a U.S. veteran. Win, 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 win. GoPureTalk.com. Promo code FLS free this month to get 1 month free. That would be the second month. First month, you pay. The second month, you pay nothing. Thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you for listening to Finish the Race. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
My friends and I love it.
It's drastically changed my life.
For more information and updates, please visit finishtherace.com. To get in touch with others in our community, please visit megabook.com. We thank you once again for tuning in. Have a blessed day.